Okay, so after that little mishap, I am here again in front of you, you're going to be sick of me by the end, to introduce Anna Weber. So Anna has been sitting in front of the computer to write her intro for roughly an hour now, and she's got nothing. Probably the #1 thing she hates most is having to write bios. It took her 3 days to cough up the bio for the MFA student page. I know, right? How would everyone feel about a list of some essential things you should know about Anna? Okay, so some heads nodding, okay. Here we go. 1, she hates word limits, summer, and pants. 2, in high school, she was a 400-meter hurdler for the track team. In the open state qualifier meet her senior year, she took the lead, got to the last hurdle, caught it with her foot, tripped over it, tore open her knees, got up, won, iced her knees, and ran the third leg of the 4x1 relay about 15 minutes later. That's pretty good. This is a metaphor, but it also actually happened. 3, while she was in France last year, she spent a lot of time telling her Belgian friends that they needed to find her a husband so she could stay in Europe. When Val said he actually had a taker, Anna's first question was, does he like to read? Val yelled at her because you can't be picky, idiot. You don't give a shit if he likes to read or not. You just want to marry him for citizenship. And Anna said, but it would be nice to have some common interests too. So she is single in America and will now read you a thing about Belgium.
I can't laugh really hard because the stress is really constricting, so we're going to try and keep it... I'm going to try and stay more serious. So this is... I try really hard to write about Belgium frequently, and it usually doesn't work out because Belgium is really bizarre as a country, which you wouldn't think. So this is one valiant attempt. Started out as a travel essay, and I tried to revise it to make it more literary. I don't know if it worked, but you'll tell me if it worked. Title now is Belgitude. Snow on the television. Black screen. The text, ceci n'est peut-être pas une fiction. Bonsoir tous, l'heure est grave, excusez-nous pour cette interruption, événement exceptionnel, moment exceptionnel. The newscaster is babbling urgently. La Flandre a déclaré unilatéralement son indépendance, la Belgique en tant que telle n'existerait plus. Shot of the Palais Royal. The king finds himself incapable of ruling, claims a reporter. The Flemish parliament has declared independence, effective immediately. The reporter is stuttering, sentence shattering, just like the country. Shots of the Flemish officials gathering with the king for secret meetings. Shot of the Belgian flag on the Palais de Justice, skidding down the pole as it's lowered. Shot of the royal family mounting a plane in the dark, heading out of the country for Kinshasa is later revealed. Shot of the Flemish parliament mobbed by the citizens brandishing the Flemish flag and singing some kind of national anthem. La Belgique a cessé d'exister, repeats the second reporter. He mentions that the Flemish government has already voted on a constitution developed in secret. He utters the words l'ancienne Belgique. There's a half hour of this before the thin red band reading Ceci est une fiction parades across the bottom of the screen. Another hour of fake reports on Flanders, fake separating from Wallonia. A debate between leading political figures on the possibility of a situation and its real-life consequences, on the potential veracity of what you just witnessed. Flanders has threatened to separate from Wallonia many times over decades, has an entire political party whose explicit purpose is to develop a separate country, but still. As a Belgian, sitting on your couch at home, recovering from your initial panic, you think it's a pretty good joke. You think this precisely because you are Belgian, and you inhabit a world one shade away from everyone else's reality, stewed with the dregs of surrealism, colored with self-derisory humor, ironically embracing your insignificance on a global scale, defining yourself by what you're not, reveling in the emptiness of non-identity. No matter how Flemish or Walloon you are, this Belgitude is a critical part of who you are, or aren't, depending on how you look at it. Belgitude is why every town in Belgium has its own personal festival, celebrated on the day of the city's patron saint, called the Kermesse if you're Flemish or Ducasse if you're not. Some are inebriated with folkloric ritual, highlighting two-story wooden giants who dance up and down the streets. or a brass band that has existed continuously for over a century, or frantic shopping cart races between themed teams. Some are just 20-euro music festivals devoted to smaller European acts and run by the locals for the sheer pleasure of hosting a big party. One of those festivals is Pack Rock. Pack Rock was my destination on a blustery April Saturday. These native Bruxellois wanted to check out a bunch of bands playing on the event's 2 stages, and she told me I should come. One last heavy dose of Belgium before I quit Europe the following week for the 4th time in 6 years. We packed some sandwiches, printed our tickets, checked the train schedule, and hopped a commuter rail from Brussels headed for Pont-à-Celle. Where's Pont-à-Celle? That's a great question. It's not on here, we said, finger skimming the dirty plexiglass covering the paper timetable. What's not on here? Pont-à-Celle, there's no train to Pont-à-Celle in the next hour. What? I leaned over Liz's shoulder. We were standing on an empty platform at La Louvière Sud, where we were told to make a change in order to catch the train to Pont-à-Celle. A few people huddled under the awning of the train station, squinting at the trickle of cold rain from under their hoods. She was right. Let's go in and ask. We crossed the tracks to the one-room station and made our way to the booth. The teller was on the phone, staring blankly at the ceiling and rocking his chair back and forth as he talked. When he saw us, he heaved a long sigh, said goodbye to the person on the other line, and dropped the phone in its cradle, leaning on his elbows to peer at us through the scratched window in his enormous glasses. May I help you? When is the next train to Pont-à-Celle? Liz asked, leaning towards the grate. Pont-à-Celle! He stared at us, stared at the big clock behind us, stared at the electronic board indicating departures, stared at us again. Pont-à-Celle, Mademoiselle, that train left maybe 2 minutes ago? Excuse me, what are you talking about? We were told to change at La Louvière Sud for a train to Pont-à-Celle. Oh, no. You were supposed to change at La Louvière Centre. There's only 5 minutes to catch the train to Pont-à-Celle, meaning if you change at La Louvière Sud, you miss it. Excuse me, Liz repeated. We were told explicitly at the Gare du Midi that we had to change at Sud. Were we not? She whipped her head to face me. I nodded rapidly. Absolutely not. There's no possibility you would have made the train. Liz inhaled sharply, audibly. Okay, well, great. When is the next one? The next one? The next one's not for another 2 hours. 2 hours! It was already 2:30 p.m. We'd missed half the bands we wanted to see. I watched anger rise red in Lisa's cheeks. Monsieur, est-ce que c'est une blague? She exploded. He straightened suddenly, glared at us down the bridge of his nose. Est-ce que j'ai l'air de blaguer, mademoiselle? Typique SNCB, Liz muttered, littering curses as she stormed away from the booth. Marching outside to check the bus schedule, I ran to catch up. We scanned the list of stops, didn't recognize a single one. A yellow and red tech bus pulled up, let off 2 passengers, pulled away. There was nobody else in the half-empty parking lot. We stared at each other for what felt like hours. Now what? Maybe, I said abruptly, we should take a taxi. What taxi? Do you seriously think we'll find a taxi out here? I pointed. A black cab was pulling up to the curb, dropping off a passenger. Babbling at the same time, we managed to explain our situation. He shook his head slowly at the mention of Pont-à-Celle. Never heard of it. Our faces must have fallen hard. He immediately reached for his GPS and typed in the name. Here it is. It would be about 30 euros to get there. Would you want to go for that? Did we have another choice? In we piled. Our driver was up for the adventure, sympathizing with our gripes about the SNCB, laughing when Lise imitated the teller's cold insistence that he wasn't joking. We got off the highway and found ourselves on the 1.5 lane country roads and their scenery that define driving in the Hainaut region. Lime green fuzz dusting the forests and meadows, fruit trees unfurling in pastel palettes, wafts of manure and moist earth streaming through the car's open windows, solo farmers turning over fields, a group of men in overalls surrounding a stalled tractor, a teenager leading his skittish donkey down the center of the road, periodic furious rain showers stopping as abruptly as they'd started. Eventually we reached a long bridge over rows of train tracks. Looks like we're almost there. Should be right next to the station in a big park. The car turned the corner, pulled into the station and parked in front of the entrance. The parking lot was empty. We didn't hear any music. Only 3 people lingered on the sidewalk, thumbs scrolling on their phones. I noticed the signs stating the name of the stop along the platforms. She was already halfway to the car. What? I think we're in Newt? What? She looked around. Oh, come on. The driver was looking at us expectantly, waiting for payment. Sir, we're so sorry. This is in Pont-à-Celle. What? He looked around, then rolled down the passenger window and leaned forward, gesturing to the pedestrian standing closest to us. Hey, you! Sir, where are we? The man came forward, lowering his phone, eyeing us. Newt, why? Where's the train station in Pont-à-Celle? He stared at us, stared at the driver, stared at us. There is no station in Pont-à-Celle. We sat in silence, stunned. The The man still leaning through the window, hands on his knees. A single moment, extending endlessly, followed this extraordinary, unbelievable proclamation, a moment in which I questioned whether or not we were in a movie we'd forgotten we signed the rights to, in which I wondered whether this festival was real, in which I wondered whether Ponta said it was real, whether we were real, whether the day had slipped from one dimension of time and space to another without us realizing it. These did not seem to suffer the same mental breakdown. Putain, she swore, pulling out her phone and bringing up her own GPS. Sir, she addressed the driver, do you mind going another 3 kilometers? The conclusion to the plot, we made it to the festival. The conclusion to Belgitude, there isn't one and there never will be one. What is even more incredible to me than this story is that Lise does not find it nearly as incredible as I do. She didn't feel the same distinct split from the everyday that I felt as I became increasingly convinced that our journey took place on some other plane of reality, because that is her everyday, that feeling of detachedness, of outside looking in, of it's this because it isn't those other things. Ask a Belgian how to define Belgium. They can't. The best thing they can do is tell you to go to a place or participate in an activity they find embodies some wisp of Belgian essence, but most will probably simply refuse to try. The day it can be categorized in a soundbite, Belgium will effectively cease to exist.